Hello, this is Apostle Dr. Jewel Williams here, and I'm with our wisdom moment. And so, last couple of weeks I've been talking about the lessons I've learned from either pastoring, just being a believer. And then I just want to talk to you a little bit about what I'm calling We Are the Body. Specifically, just kind of dealing with some of the ideas that people have about church and churches at large. And so I'm going to call this We Are the Body. And today I'm going to talk about we are what we teach. I'm reading Acts 2 verses 42 to 47. For today I'm going to read the whole piece of scripture. It's the English Standard Version. It says, "And they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. And all came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were being done through the apostles. And all who believed were together and had all things in common, and they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing the proceeds to all as they had need. And day by day, attending the temple together and breaking bread in their homes, they received their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to their number day by day those who were being saved." And so I want to talk about we are what we teach. And so I'm going to be talking this week about we are a body. And I'm talking specifically about who we are as Abundant Life Worship Center. Now, I'm not telling you this so you can leave your church and come join my church. But I just want to bring perspective from One Body Church. So before we hear all of the, oh, but that's not all pastors, that's not all churches, I get that. But I wanted to bring something because we tend to always hear all of the negative stuff about a church. But let's talk about some positive things, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So we are what we teach. And that's in that verse 42. And it said they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowship and to the breaking of bread and prayers. We aren't preaching to our church, to the congregation, something that we aren't first living ourselves, or that we are not holding ourselves to a standard. What do I mean by that? Well, when I first received my call to pastoring, I went before the Lord and said, well, Lord, I want to do this right. I don't want to mess this up. This is too serious an assignment. This is too serious a calling. So I don't want my brokenness. I don't want my issues. I don't want nothing to get in the way of me being the best that I can for you. And so I was led to go back to school. So I went to school, got my master's in religious education. I thought I was done with that. I was going to go for my doctorate, but at the school that I was at, I just realized that that wasn't for me in that particular environment. But the Lord led me later on to go to Bethel Seminary, where I did get my doctorate in leadership and servant leadership. Now, why is all of that important? It's not so important that I have a degree, because you can be a pastor and not necessarily have a degree. What was important is that I was willing to study. Scripture tells we should be willing to study to show ourselves approved, rightly dividing the word of truth. So I was willing to put myself in a position to be stretched, to be taught, and to learn. And it wasn't just that I was learning biblical truth, but I wanted to learn how to be a right kind of leader. What did it mean to be a leader? Because I didn't think leadership was necessarily my forte, but the Lord had to show me. He was like, no, I'm calling you into a place of being a leader. And so I want you to lead my way. And so my dissertation work, I created a model, called it the whole servant leader, leading from the inside out. And so I created a model that says there's certain, and it was based on the dissertation work of Kathleen Patterson. And her work said that there was these virtues that should come out of a servant leader. And I built on that and said, well, before they can come out, what happens inwardly? And so I talked about the attributes of God, the characteristic of God that needs to be built on the inside of us so that then we can live out these virtues. And I created a model that we actively use at Abundant Life Worship Center to train those that are being ordained. They have to go through this training about leader and leadership and servanthood and understanding. This is really little to do about you being on top. It's really about you being foundational. You'll catch that tomorrow. See, many have this idea that leadership is you serve me. No, we're coming with leadership as leadership serves you. So as leaders, we come to serve God first, and being his servant, then we serve the people. And so We at Abundant Life Worship Center believe in devoting ourselves to the teaching and to the fellowship and to the breaking of bread and to prayer. These are key places that we do. So the breaking of bread, while we may not eat together all the time, we sit around after church and we want to talk and we want to pray. We want to take time in that ministry part. That's the part that we go off camera because it's not for the world to see. That's the intimate part. So we don't televise deliverance. We don't televise when we're praying for individual people. And I've been told if you televise that, more people might come. But I don't want to televise that because that is such an intimate place where a person is being vulnerable. And I don't want to really expose that vulnerability for the sake of possibly getting more people to come to church. Come because the word is good. That's it. And then you'll get the rest. And so we are the body. And so I want to encourage you. Again, I'm not necessarily saying come to my church, but if you're looking for a church, Abundant Life Worship Center in Chicago, 7701 South Exchange, our service is at 9:30. Little plug. But I'm really saying you stand strong if you are in a church that you are what you teach, that your leaders are teaching you and telling you the truth. So even though it's a lot of stuff going on saying that the pastors aren't this and the pastors aren't that, if that's not true for your pastor, then you stand strong, you encourage them, you pray for them, because there's a lot that they got to fight to be able to continue to bring that to you. So we are the body. God bless.